okay in the back? I'm going to try to speak up because I've got this raspy voice. It's just the way my voice is, by the way. All right, is it the computer I'm using to forward the slides?
I think Debbie changed
the
that.
arrows or the space bar.
Got it. All right. So I think you can guess what I'm here to talk to you about today. Build your body, build your life. What could I possibly mean by that? What do you think the secret is to health and body transformation? Not just beyond age 40, by the way. I have to say this because I have met so many people since we got here who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s on this cruise. Shout out to all of you, by the way, because you have to be, yes, give yourselves a hand. You have to be mobile to get here and to be here and to maneuver around this ship, so you're already doing something right, okay? No matter what age you are. So I'm just going to change the title right now and say, beyond any age, it does not matter how old you are. And so that's the first thing I'm going to start with today. Also, I have to say, huge shout out to Dr. Vega, to Dr. Lenskis, to, oh my gosh, Jessica, who kicked us off just incredible yesterday. And of course, my love, Coach Bronson, for setting the tone. Because I feel that they all made my job a little bit easier. And here's my job today. Here's my goals with this talk. Number one, to convince you that the single most powerful thing you can do to improve your health and body as you age is build muscle. And I don't think that will be as difficult as I thought it was going to be, thanks to my colleagues. Teach you, number two, how, right? It's one thing to explain why, but how? Okay, how do I make that happen? How to tap into this secret weapon and use it to your advantage no matter your age or current health status. Eliminate all the excuses because anybody can do it. I don't care where you're starting from. The importance is that you start. All right, but first things first. Like everyone who came before me, we start with the mindset. We all have the head slides, the brain slides. So I always have to start with this because, yes, I'm a bikini model, but I did not come out the womb a bikini model, okay? It didn't start this way. Let's talk about my story. I have been overweight. I have been underweight. I have been incredibly fit and incredibly sad and depressed and very, very mentally and physically ill, all at the same time. What you see on the outside is not always reflective of what is happening on the inside. We have to put our health first, and the body will follow. So as you've heard today, I'm going to reiterate, it's not about the weight, people. It's not about the weight. All weight is not created equal. So before, on the left, there is my very first ever transformation pictures, because a colleague of mine, I was working a 9-to-5 back in 2013-ish, and I had made this transformation, but I hadn't told anybody about it. So everybody who met me just thought I was always that small. And when one of my closest friends in the office saw a picture of me on Facebook from before, she said, "Oh my gosh, you need to do a before and after." And that was the first time I ever did it. But do you know in those after pictures how much I weigh there? Under 100 pounds. I was 30 years old at that time. And I loved it. Oh, I hit the pinnacle. This is amazing. Clothes just fall off of me. That's not the goal, guys. We don't just want to be hangers.
Yeah, that's good.
But my friends and family were concerned. And this was not at the height of my eating disorder, by the way. This was, I went paleo. I got off all pharmaceuticals. I felt amazing. I didn't think I needed to change anything. I reversed all of my chronic conditions. So, hey, it's great. Everything is good. All is good, right? Not right. I had no muscle. I actually lost whatever curves I had. I had to create it. Well, you see the poses I'm doing in there to create some curves. I lost everything. So then I started, I grew up a dancer, by the way. So this was after years of working in 9 to 5 and getting comfortable and eating a lot, putting the weight on and then taking it off, but not prioritizing fitness. I stopped dancing, I stopped moving my body, and I had just gotten back into it at that time. So got back into the dance studio, and then I wanted to support my body and what I wanted my body to be able to do. 2015 was when I started bodybuilding. It was when I first I went to a retreat and I saw this woman whose arms were just incredible. I mean, she had biceps and shoulders, and I said, oh my gosh. And she was in her 40s, and I said, what do you do? And she was a bikini competitor, and it planted a seed. She became my first coach. It was a very traditional way of doing things, although I had already been paleo. It was high protein, high carb, low fat. And I got so sick after the first month working with her. I was in bed for 5 weeks. Immune system shot, hormones shot, and I didn't even make it to the stage that year. Thank goodness I went through 3 other personal trainers before I got to a personal trainer who took all the weights out of my hands and said, we're going to teach you how to do this right. Alignment, proper form, technique, body weight exercises, y'all. Body weight. Don't sleep on the body weight. And the bands, by the way. My ladies will tell you some of the bands are the hardest workouts you will ever do. And this is why I say you can start wherever you are. I'm so grateful for that experience because I had back pain. All throughout when I was dancing in college, I had so many back problems my whole life. That changed it. Learning how to move correctly, safely, properly, and then able to add the weights on later. So, 2016 was the first time I got on stage. 2017, the second time. I took a break, if you can tell, in 2018 to build. Took a whole year off of getting on stage because it was no longer about being small. I wanted the thing all the women say they don't want. I want to get bulky. I want bulky muscles. Because guess what happens when you lean out after a building phase? When you get on stage, it looks impressive. The leaning out phase is what we call it, or we call it the cutting phase. Cutting calories, cutting fat, body fat. That's what everybody thinks they want when they come to me about competing. By the way, another thing most people don't know is that I don't work with competitors. I had one woman get on stage last year. And I had one woman I'll tell you about in a little bit who I was her coach before she eventually got on stage. So what I do is not work with athletes only. Most of my women are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Most of them never want to get on stage. I'll tell you about a lady who didn't even think she would ever wear a bikini in her life in a moment. But as you can see, it takes the building phase to get to this. You don't get to this by dieting. You don't get to this just from losing weight and just from fat loss. That's just the years of my journey, and Coach Bronson wanted me to tell you that 2020, that picture, that's the picture that got him. Those of you who don't know, you can corner us and we'll tell you the whole story, but we met in Vegas at a keto event in 2021, and that video from that stage performance was up on a screen in my booth, and he came. Who's that? Who's that? So, and I put my ages on here because I never got on stage in my 20s. You know, most people who compete, you're going to see they're in their 20s. I didn't even start until my mid-30s, and this last stage performance was right a month before, 2 months before my 40th birthday. I'm now 41. I'm not stopping anytime soon. I will be on stage in my 50s and 60s. Yeah. So, you never, ever know what might be in store for you. All right, so with that being said, this is for you. I want you to suspend any disbelief that what I have to say today is not for you. Muscle is not just for bodybuilders. That's the biggest point I want to bring across. Never say never, and there is absolutely no reason you can't and every reason you should build muscle. Focus on building muscle. I said I was going to tell you about Juliana. She came to me last year, just after the cruise, a couple of months after the cruise last year. I did my second or third summer shred program. Third summer shred program. Thank you, Coach Bronson, for keeping me honest. And this is the challenge I do once a year in the summer. I only ever do 2 challenges a year. One in January, Grace and Grind. It's all about the mind, the heart, and the body. And then the summer shred. And Juliana met us at our conference. If those who don't know, we had a conference last year in Maryland. Juliana came to our conference. We met in person. She soaked up. She took notes on every single thing that weekend. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And then she took the plunge. And she was so scared. And when she came in and shared, this is her transformation. 1 year, y'all. 1 year. You'll never get me in a bikini. And that picture in the bikini this year was featured in that company on their newsletter, in their promotions, on their website. She can now say she's a bikini model. And she ain't done yet. So, if you don't know by now, what's the big secret? You've been thinking about it all wrong. Weight loss is not the answer. If it was, you could just cut off a limb. There you go. There's the weight. Bye-bye. Weight is gone, right? Most of my ladies who come to me because they've been on keto. I'm not the person who convinces people to go keto and teaches them how to make the very first steps into keto. Okay, I'm not here to convince anyone of that. I'm here to fix the way you've been doing things. My ladies come to me when they've already lost some weight, lots of weight. I'll tell you about some of those ladies in a little bit. And they don't like what they see in the mirror. It has not changed their body because they were so focused on losing the weight, they lost a lot of muscle in the process. And now they've got all this hanging skin and extra weight just hanging on them. And now they want to fill it up with muscle. So, muscle is your anti-aging secret weapon. How many of you know this lady or are familiar with her? This is Dr. Gabrielle Ryan, the founder, creator of muscle-centric medicine. And I pulled this quote from her book, Forever Strong. If you are interested in the mechanisms behind why muscle matters, check out her book. It's got all the mechanisms. I'm not the person who's going to talk to you about science, okay? I'm going to talk to you about application. But this quote from her, building muscle creates something like body armor that protects you in all domains of health. You can literally change your destiny by empowering your muscle to run the body's energy processing and chemical messaging system in healthy ways. Love it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about why muscle matters and why it is not just for show. Just a few of the things, and you've heard some of these things already. Balanced blood sugar, reduced cravings, insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is the key, y'all. The reason why bodybuilders can eat a lot more carbs than you can is because we have somewhere to put it. When that insulin goes up, it shuttles it into our cells and our muscles use it. And we get it out of our system, and then we can move on and we can do that again. I'm not a proponent of high-carb, low-fat diets like most of my brethren in bodybuilding. As I told you, got me very sick. I wouldn't recommend it. That's why in 2016, when I got rid of that first coach, I've always done every single bodybuilding competition ketogenic, low-carb, keto. In my off seasons, I might add some fruit, some sweet potato, or some things. But most of the time now, these days, I'm carnivore. But that insulin sensitivity is key, and that exercise, building the muscle, reserves, that's going to be the answer to how you get that. Along with that is going to come increased energy, strength, and physical ability. If nothing else, that is probably the most important thing on here. Not only the ability to do things, but the confidence in yourself to do so, which is another thing on here. Obviously, decreased body fat. That's just naturally going to happen when you build muscle. It's going to improve your body composition. Body fat percentage is a ratio of your body weight. The other half of that equation is lean mass, and your muscle makes up a giant portion of it. The biggest piece, though, of all is the self-confidence and the belief in your abilities and the freedom to participate fully in life and go after your wildest dreams. It's what I did. And I'll tell you about some ladies who've done that as well, because stories tell more than the science ever can. We've got to start with my girl Maria, who's right here, by the way. Stand up, please. And y'all, please find her. She'll tell you all the details and all the words behind it. But the pictures really tell 1,000 words. This woman is a different woman than she was 2 years ago when I met her on the low-carb cruise. I met her in 2022, and I wouldn't recognize her today in the best way, inside and out. Not only, and you can see the stats on here, she maintained, first of all, let me just tell you all how difficult it is to lose 100 pounds and maintain your lean mass through that process. Maria did that. And this fit body you see on these bottom pictures here with the lines and the delts and the biceps and everything popping, that happened because she added in the training. We've now worked together over a year. But it was that cruise that started it all. So you just never know. You can see the trend line in that middle picture there. Steep decline. When you zoom out, one thing I teach my women is we take our weight. We get on the scale every single day. And I like to challenge the notion of, and this is harkening back to Jessica's discussion, but if you cannot see your weight, if it triggers you, the scale is not the problem. We need to dig into our triggers. I always say we don't want to have to live in padded walls and a straitjacket to be able to get through our lives. That's not freedom. Freedom is I see my weight on the scale and it holds no power over me. So we take our weight every day. And those who are the most scared, I ask them to take their weight 10 times a day for a few days so that they can see how fleeting that number is. And then they learn what goes into that number. It's a whole lot more than you think. Those scales are going to fluctuate every single day. But when you do the zoom out, if Maria had been focused on every day she saw her weight go up, and she let that derail her and took her off track, she wouldn't be where she is today. And then my favorite part at the bottom there, you can't see it, is a little bit small, but there's a lot of this going on, jagged up and down, but look what it's done. That's maintenance. That's life. That's freedom. And she doesn't have to be as dialed in as she once did. She has a lot more freedom now. Thank you for allowing me to make an example of you. Kim, where are you? Kim's right here. And I had to throw your book in there too. I know she didn't know I was going to do that, but it's part of her story, and I really needed to share this because, first off, look at how amazing this woman looks in a bikini. She was so excited to be able to wear a bikini on this trip. I'm going to read her quote. One of the most profound insights I've gained is the significant impact that physical health has on mental well-being. She shared that it was one of the most difficult things for her, and she avoided it for a long time because of the perceived difficulty of the work involved. I'm going to say that again, the perceived difficulty of the work involved. I'm not going to call anybody out, but probably would take more than 2 hands to count how many people have come up to me since we started here and given me their excuses why they couldn't do what I do. When you are married to your limitations, you get to keep them. These women decided to lean in. And I know Kim won't mind me saying this, but for the first 2 months that we worked together privately, she didn't take action. And as a retired teacher, she thought about community, and she knew what she needed. And when I launched the first group program, the Shred, last year, she asked to join it because she knew what she was missing. She knew herself enough that having a private coach still wasn't enough, y'all. Putting the financial investment in place, which how many of y'all have bought programs, worked with coaches, bought books? You thought that making the financial commitment would make you do it. Nothing outside of you is going to make you do it. So she joined the community, and then she went warp speed. This woman just impressed the pants off of me, let me tell you. But the biggest piece here, she wrote this book. I remember when she was doing the photo shoot for the cover. It was one of those, I can't believe I'm doing this. And look at the confidence in her face in that cover photo. And I always love the way the faces change in the progress pictures too. You always see it, the beginning progress pictures. I hate that they're making me do this. And then it smiles, and then the confidence comes out. But this is the coolest part. I am incredibly proud of my physical transformation, but even more thrilled about the positive impact on my mental health. Feeling stronger in my body inspired me to book a 2-day, 1-night adventure hiking the Appalachian Trail. This experience has sparked a desire to complete the entire trail through section hikes. A year ago, I would have doubted my ability to undertake such a challenge, but now I'm excited to join the ranks of Appalachian Trail hikers. And you can buy her book on Amazon. Especially great for my ladies going through the perimenopause, menopause, empty nester phase. Oops. There we go. Celeste. So something I do every year along with my challenge is I pick a winner who gets to work with me privately for 6 months. And Celeste was one of those very first scholarship recipients. She had severe thyroid, I don't think it was Hashimoto's, but hypothyroid. She said, I felt sick and could barely wake up in the morning and dragged myself through each day. I was in pain. Not only did training give me energy and vitality, but it motivated me in other areas of my life. The brain fog lifted. I started my branding business and got my personal trainer certification. I remember I talked her through this because she was so scared to leave that job. And now she's thriving. My mood vastly improved as I was irritated at all times and depressed. I will never go back to being that sick and debilitated again. That is no quality of life. By the way, this transformation is only 20-pound difference. I have to point that out because it's the body composition that changes the way you look, not the weight. Our girl Jennifer is here. How many people know Jennifer? Where is she? She's back there. I'm sure a lot of you know Jennifer's story. And boy, is it still continuing. What a winding road. It's been amazing to meet this woman, and I truly call her a friend. She says, building muscle was the game changer that elevated my health from simply being a thinner version of myself to being a fully restored and stronger person who not only changed her body, but moreover, it changed me inside to a more confident version of myself. That middle picture, much like my story, that was when she first lost the weight and was skinny and not strong and not capable. And now, this woman is more mentally, emotionally, and physically strong than most people that I know. And for those of you who know personally her story, please talk with her because what she has had to endure on the emotional side, I don't even know if I could take it. I love you, Jennifer. Liz. I had to steal a picture from her Facebook because a lot of my ladies don't like to share the photos publicly. But Liz is my New Zealander. Shout out to our New Zealanders. Actually, she's one of many. I have lots of Aussie and New Zealand ladies in my group. She said, this process isn't easy, but it's a hell of a lot easier than anything else I've done over 45 years. I tried everything from running marathons to doing 72-hour water fasts. What a shame more women don't have the courage to give this a go. I have heard so many excuses as to why they can't do it, and now I just smile. I have the golden ticket. That might be my favorite quick quote of the whole shebang. And Lana, she's been on a long journey since 2016 as well. To her, she says, the most important thing to me is to be able to perform. I want to be at my best health in order to live life to its fullest, with faith and service being my driving force. And let me tell y'all, this woman is such a gift to my community. The way she has with words, she has a gift to give to the world, and I know that she will bring it to the world, to larger and larger groups, and hopefully doing what I'm doing one day, because that is her purpose. So there are so many women I've shared who have left their old careers and started new careers, and just the possibilities are endless. She says, having muscle mass isn't often correlated to all of our abilities, but it should be. And then finally, Tina. Those of you may remember Tina was with us a couple of years ago on the cruise. You may not recognize her in this picture. Oh, she was here last year too. Yes, I made an example of her last year as well. So I met her 2 years ago when she was 60 years old. She's now 63. She got on stage last year for the first time ever. And what I love about her, what she had to share was a bit over 2 years ago, this was right when she was getting on stage. She said, a bit over 2 years ago, I heard a presentation from a bikini pro, and I was captivated. Although I was 60 at the time, she encouraged me to pursue it and become my first coach. As I can no longer run due to the lingering effects of the neurological condition I developed after my husband died, I found I could train like crazy, so it filled a hole. I've also been certified as a health coach and a personal trainer. This woman overcame a serious eating disorder, y'all. When she came to me, she was barely eating. And you've read about the under 1,200 calorie. I have many, many ladies in my group who are afraid of food. This chart here shows her reverse dieting. We did a reverse diet. I love to do reverse diets. This is one of the things that many women have never considered in their lives. A reverse diet? What? I've been on a diet my entire life. Exactly, that's the problem. Their metabolism is tanked. Their body is used to surviving on 800 calories. I have a woman in my group now eating 700 calories a day. And we're trying to slowly get her up. When you subsist on that and you try to eat anything, your body will put on body fat very quickly until you start lifting weights and building muscle. That is her chart. On the top is her calories, and that bottom line was her weight. As we increased her calories, her body was starving. It needed more. And now she is able to eat a lot more carbs. She transitioned for women who want to in my group. I work with everyone from anywhere from the top of the low carb continuum all the way down to zero carb carnivore. And she is thriving on more carbs now. So let's get into the hows. Of course, I only left 8 minutes to tell you about the hows, but that's okay because the stories were so important. With the right why, doesn't matter the how as much. All right, so this is the 5 big pieces here. If you want to take a quick screenshot of that one, go for it. This is what I'm going to tell you about. Train, sustain, restore, repeat, refine. That's the process. How to exercise for muscle growth. I'll spend more time here than on the other slides because this is the piece. I really want to give you the nuts and bolts here. Swap out the cardio for resistance training. Any kind of resistance. Your body weight, bands, dumbbells, machines at the gym, barbells, whatever floats your boat, start somewhere. It has to be difficult. It has to be challenging. So you have to challenge yourself. If it's not difficult, you got to change something about what you're doing. And not difficult in I'm out of breath, I'm sweating. All exercise is not created equal. Chronic cardio will get you what we talked about. You're a clothing hanger. You're losing muscle. Chronic cardio being especially long distance cardio, long duration cardio. This is the kind of thing that pares down muscle. So when you're, endurance athletes, if they looked like bodybuilders, if they were giant and they were carrying around a lot of muscle, it would be a lot more difficult for them to perform their sport. So pares down muscle. If we want to build muscle, we want to pull back on the cardio. And for those of you who absolutely love certain activities that are cardio-based activities, doesn't mean you have to completely cut it out. But prioritize your resistance training. Make it challenging. Lift something heavy. Challenge yourself to go to what we call failure. Most of us, when we're just getting started, our central nervous system is going to improve before our muscles actually get stronger. So there's something called mechanical failure where your muscles will actually fail. But what's going to happen for the first 6 months or so, you're getting started, your brain is going to tell you you're done. So with proper form, keep lifting that weight until you can't lift another rep with perfect proper form. And if you don't know if you're lifting with proper form, I highly recommend seeing a personal trainer at least just even one time in person at a local gym, a local Y, wherever you can find one, or even better, a physical therapist. Have them take a look at how you move, especially if you have injuries. Bad hip, I have a bad shoulder, I hear that all the time, bad knees. All of my ladies who come to me with bad knees, who hate lunges and request not to have them in their program, guess what I do? We're doing lunges. We're gonna scale them back. We'll start with a split squat where you don't actually have to move, you just stay in one place, and maybe you hold on to something. But there's always a scalable option, and so it's really important to at least one time see somebody in person and have them evaluate you. Then here's the big piece that I always see getting wrong, and it is the progressive piece. It must be progressive. There's a term called progressive overload. That is where we build our muscle. We have to do more than we did last time. It doesn't necessarily mean more weight or more reps. It can absolutely mean more weight or more reps. It could mean more intensity. There's a lot of different ways to achieve this. I teach a free masterclass every single Monday night on YouTube at Keto Bikini Secrets. I'll put it up on the screen at the end. But I taught a masterclass on all the different ways you can achieve progressive overload. It may look different, maybe slowing down the movement. But you have to do more, ask more of your body than you did last time, or else it's not going to change. So all of these, a lot of people love classes because it's easy, right? You go in the class and you follow along. But a lot of the time you're lifting the same weight for the same number of reps every single time, and it's timed, so you're going fast, you're not paying attention to form, so then all of these principles of muscle growth are going out the window. Okay. Intensity, frequency, and duration. When a client comes to me, these are the questions that I'm asking them. Realistically, how many days are you actually going to work out consistently? I don't care if you're coming to me and you want the results tomorrow and you say, I can do 6 days a week. Let's be real. You're probably not going to do 6 days a week. So tell me, realistically, how many times a week? How long does that session need to be? Do you need a 20-minute workout? Because we can do that. And then how hard are you going to go? You don't want to go kill yourself because now you're not going to be able to move for 2 weeks. Pace yourself. We have a saying in our group called slow is a pace. Slow is still a pace. So how to eat to fuel your recovery and training. And I say recovery because we break down our muscles in the gym. We build them during the recovery process. And that includes what we eat. So I don't have to go into this in detail because Maria is going to do it for me a little bit later today. Eat more quality protein. If you're afraid of protein turning into chocolate cake in your veins, please eat more protein. Don't be afraid of gluconeogenesis. Maria will tell you why. But you're not going to build anything without eating enough protein. It is the building blocks of our body. Manage your fuel intake. Carbs and fats are fuel. They are not treated the same in the body as protein. So while we do count calories, all calories are not the same. Consider fats and carbs together over here as your fuel, your energy source. Protein over here is your building block. Do not ever trade your protein for fats or carbs. If you need to increase your fat to get more energy, great, do it. Don't lower your protein to do so. Okay? And then, please, for the love of God, stop these extended fasts. You're starving yourself. You're starving your body of very important lean mass. So if you're going to fast, if you insist on fasting, here's how I would recommend doing it. Get your first bolus of protein, nice large amount of protein, early in the day, before noon. Ideally by or around 10 a.m. And cut that eating window short, 5, 6, 7 p.m., depending on your bedtime, at least 3 or 4 hours before bed. That will bode well for your muscles. Recovery is more than just sleep, but sleep is key, and my colleagues have told you enough about sleep, but it is one of the things that usually gets neglected when we want to do all these things and squeeze things into our day. So prioritize your sleep, learn to manage your stress, feel your feelings, process your emotions, don't avoid them. And then you can throw in your recovery activities, foam rolling, massage, hot, cold therapy, all these other things. But don't let those things take place of the basics. Sleep, stress. And then how to stay consistent. Find your why is the most important thing. I have a masterclass I'll let you go check out on that. If you're struggling with finding your why and then keeping it in front of your mind every day, revisit and reset your expectations, your goals, and your timeline. Most of my women think it's going to happen faster than it's going to happen. When you set out on a muscle building journey, I want you to make this a lifelong journey for the rest of your life, because it never stops. And then process and habit goals, not just outcome goals, not just what do I want my body to look like, not just how many pounds do I want to lose, but what can I acknowledge and celebrate for myself for every day and every week? We track this in our weekly check-ins. What am I proud of myself of for this week? Process goals, habit goals. What did I do yesterday that I'm proud of? Start stacking those wins, because that's what's going to keep you in the game. And then refine. The other biggest thing I see people do wrong all the time. They're afraid of the scale because the scale is the only thing you've ever looked at to track your progress. These pictures, that's 2016 on the left, that's 2024 on the right. That's 8 years. And can anybody guess the difference in my weight in these two pictures?
It's about the same.
Jonathan got it, it's 0. Exactly the same weight. 8 years later, muscle matters. Assess your measurements. Take photos. We track biofeedback. So how am I sleeping? How's my energy? Libido. Libido, y'all. It's a sign of health. Don't just think because you're getting older it's just supposed to go to nothing. I could have done this whole talk on menopause and perimenopause, because ladies, I'm with you now. Okay, I get it. I get it now. Oh boy. And if you struggle with those things and assessing yourself, get professional guidance. Please, get a second opinion. Somebody outside of you that doesn't have all the emotion tied up in what they're seeing. So tell me, are you ready to stop focusing on what you have to lose and start focusing on what you have to gain? Yes. All right, if you need a little help, this year I'm so happy I didn't have this last year, so now I have somewhere you can go. We have the Keto Bikini Academy. It is our group coaching. It is the most affordable way to work with me. And my ladies here can tell you all about it. We do training programs every 6 to 8 weeks. We do macros and nutrition guidance, progress tracking, weekly check-ins, weekly group Zoom calls, and constant education, because it's all about changing your brain. And the community is like no other, I can truly say. This summer I'm bringing back the shred, but it is not just the shred, it is the shred and restore, because I told y'all about these reverse diets that nobody has ever done. You will have an option depending on where you're coming in, and if you're not sure, we have a questionnaire, and if you're not sure, we'll tell you which one you need to be in. And I can tell you, if you're not eating much, if you're doing a lot of fasting, and you're under-muscled, it's going to be the restore path. So you'll have options there. We'd love to have you in the challenge. That information is not even out yet. It is coming out as soon as I get home from this trip, because I'm on vacation after this, y'all. NatalieJGrasso.com is where you can find me and get all the info. And I told y'all I'd tell you this one. Keto Bikini Secrets is my Facebook group and YouTube where all the free stuff goes. And my Instagram is where I share all the fun behind-the-scenes lifestyle stuff at the Keto Bikini Pro. Thank you so much. Build some muscle, y'all.
Thank you so much, Coach Nat. Okay, I'm going to jump